Braised oxtail is a dish cooked all over the world, and today Morgan's going to show us the Jamaican way to do it.
Yeah, so this recipe is actually brought to us by Julia Atkinson, who's a friend of the Test Kitchen. She's also a food photographer and recipe developer in Brooklyn, and she learned it from her grandmother.
This is a traditional recipe.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's grandmother cooking, aka the best kind of cooking. I have 5 pounds of oxtail, so I'm just gonna try to get some trimming off of them. I really just don't want any of these large pockets of fat on here. You don't have to be precious about it, but you do want to get off anything that's way too much there.
Gotcha. Now the one thing I'm noticing about these oxtails is they're quite thick.
Yeah, so here I'm using ones that are 2 to 2.5 inches thick. That's pretty important for how these actually cook through, and you also want something that feels like a fun, substantial serving. You can get them a couple different sizes. It's worth asking your butcher specifically for something 2 to 2.5 inches. So now I'm actually gonna rinse these. So this is something Jillian learned from her grandmother.
Well, that's interesting because usually we don't recommend rinsing meat, especially chicken, because it spreads more bacteria. But this is different.
Yeah, so here it's because of how these are butchered, you can get little bone fragments. So I'm just covering it with cold water and agitating it a little bit to make sure I'm getting any of those bone fragments that would be in there. Now I'm just gonna drain these and then repeat.
So how many times do you rinse them?
Just twice. Okay, and now time to make the marinade. So I'm gonna start with 2 scallions that I'm gonna smash. So it's the same idea as smashing garlic. A, very fun.
Yeah.
And B, you actually break up the oils and the liquid and you actually get this, like you get it to release more of its flavor. So I'm gonna chop this, just a rough chop. It does not have to be perfect here. Into my Cambro. Okay, so I also have 10 sprigs of thyme.
Just a little bit.
I know, nice and herbaceous. And then I have 2 thinly sliced onions. So I just have these and sliced them nice and thin. And 2 tablespoons of vinegar. So this is just white vinegar. I also have a tablespoon of Worcestershire. I also have a tablespoon of dark soy sauce. So this is a little thicker and a little sweeter than most soy sauce you buy at the grocery store in the US, but it adds a really nice depth here. And then I have a tablespoon of pepper.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, it's got a little heat. We're packing some heat. Tablespoon of salt, which is gonna do some work on these oxtails. Got 3 garlic cloves that are just chopped, they're not minced. I also have a teaspoon of granulated garlic, a teaspoon of onion powder, and then I have 8 allspice berries.
Ah, there's the classic Jamaican flavor.
Yes. I'm just gonna get in here and toss in my hands. So you can see it's definitely a little chunky. As it sits, the oxtails are gonna release a little liquid, the onion's gonna release a little liquid. So you can let this go anywhere 4 to 24 hours. I'm gonna let it go 24 hours tonight so it gets a lot of good flavor. But would you mind covering it and throwing it in the fridge while I wash my hands?
You bet.
Thank you. So our oxtails have marinated 24 hours.
They smell potent.
Yeah, they do. I'm just taking them and brushing off any marinade. So we're gonna hang on to this. We can wash our hands.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm gonna make the browning. So it's a lot like making a caramel. So I'm gonna start by adding a 1/4 cup sugar to the center of this pot. Even that out a little bit. And I'm gonna heat it over medium-low until it starts to liquefy around the edges. So we're just looking for the edges to turn golden and liquefy. It'll take about 4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, you can see it's starting to transform over here.
Yeah.
This is very, very hot. So I'm just gonna take my spoon and just fold this in. So I'm folding the melted sugar into the unmelted sugar and just trying to even it out. So I'm just gonna keep stirring it. And you can see it's starting to smoke. Now that is supposed to happen. You're making caramel, this is really hot, so you do wanna be careful. I'm using a long spoon here. I'm actually gonna wait for it to get dark chocolate brown. So that's gonna take 4 to 6 minutes. But the smoking is gonna keep happening. So if you have a hood vent, you wanna turn it on. If you don't, open the window. So we're at that lovely place. We're getting to caramelly, like I said, dark chocolate brown, so almost there.
I can smell it.
And it goes fast, so you wanna have water on standby. So here I have a 1/4 cup of hot water.
All right.
I'm gonna just hold it while I wait for this to go.
That is fun.
So this is a 1/4 cup of hot water. And you want it on standby, you also want it hot so that it actually doesn't totally cause the sugar to seize. So now I'm just gonna cook it until I get these nice large bubbles on top. I have this really great color. I'm gonna crank this up to medium-high and add these oxtails in. A nice little sear, love that sound.
You gonna brown them all at the same time?
Brown them all in the same time. So the pot is nice and full, but that is okay. The browning does a lot of work here. It's actually gonna pick up a lot of that delicious caramelly flavor, and you're not actually worried as much about overcrowding the pot here. So I'm gonna actually keep turning these as they cook, And I'm gonna want them to actually pick up some really nice flavor, and it'll take about 10 to 12 minutes till they're nice and browned all over.
All right.
So, you see, look at that.
Goodness.
Yeah, you've got this great caramelization, the meat's starting to brown a little bit, the sugar's browning.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I'm gonna flip these guys around.
This is a really cool technique.
Yeah.
Makes me want to kind of try this with a whole bunch of braised meats.
Okay, so I'm gonna let this go probably another 6 minutes or so. We'll try to get it nice and brown all over.
All right.
See, it's so nice and caramelized. Everything's looking nice and brown. There's a nice fond on the bottom of the pot. You can hear that sizzling. I think that's when you know it's ready. We've got some good browning all over. So I have 6 cups of hot water. All right, so I'm gonna bring this to a boil, then I'm gonna cover it, reduce it to medium-low, and let it simmer for 2.5 hours.
All right.
It's gonna start the work of breaking these guys down.
Not sure what to make tonight?
We have an app for that.
That's right. Our app gives you exclusive access to thousands of recipes and reviews from Cook's Country and the entire America's Test Kitchen family.
You'll also get exclusive access to helpful step-by-step videos and have the ability to stream every season of Cook's Country ad-free without interruptions like this. Anywhere, anytime, on any mobile device.
For a more personalized experience, our app also allows you to search by ingredients, set dietary preferences, save recipes, and make notes along the way.
Scan the QR code or visit the App Store to keep Cook's Country in the palm of your hand.
2.5 hours? Let's go check it out.
Oh.
I know, they've changed. They're definitely like getting more tender, but they still have some time to go. They're not quite as tender as I want them. So that marinade we saved from earlier.
Yeah.
Time to add it back in. Okay, and one more ingredient here. This is Scotch bonnet. Scotch bonnets, as you know, are very, very spicy peppers, but they're delightful. They add a nice fruitiness too. So I'm gonna do something that Jillian's grandmother taught her and poke a little hole in it. So this is not just
For good luck.
Not just for good luck, though we probably want some luck here, but when this gets in the hot liquid, it'll steam and it can explode. If you put this little hole in it, the steam escapes there. So I'm just gonna nestle it in over here. Now when I stir this, I'm gonna pay attention to where that is. I'm gonna cover this and let it go another hour. By then the oxtail will actually begin to be fork tender and they'll start to fall off the bone, but they're still not quite done. Another hour down, and we're getting closer.
Oh,
and
wow.
Look at that. I know, right? So I'm gonna check the meat and just make sure it's at a good stage. I wanna check one of the thicker ones, so one of the bigger ones, because that's gonna take the longest to get there. So you can see it's actually so tender, it's a little hard to hold.
Yeah.
But that's good. And then, yeah, see how nice and fork tender that is?
Oh, look at that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time eating this. Here I have a can of butter beans. This is a 15.5 ounce can that I drained and rinsed. And if you can't find these, you can use frozen. But I'm just gonna stir these in, keeping an eye on that Scotch bonnet pepper, working around it. So now this just has another 30 minutes of covered cook time. We are almost there. So, those butter beans have soaked up all that good gravy.
Ooh.
One final ingredient. Here I have 1/4 cup of ketchup.
Ketchup.
Yeah, so Jillian learned this from her grandmother. This adds a nice sweetness and acidity and it actually gives a nice little body to the stew. So, I'm gonna stir this in, bring it up to a simmer over medium-high. I'm gonna cook it until the liquid level falls below most of these oxtails. So you can see some of these tall ones, it's already below a little bit, but I want it to actually fall a little more below all of them. I want all of them poking out, and that's when I know it's ready. So that'll take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. It kind of depends based on your stove and how much liquid your oxtail's released. It's a pretty big range, but you just want to keep an eye on it. You can see the meat is poking out above the gravy.
The gravy is nice and thick.
The gravy is nice and thick. The ketchup did its work. I have some rice. It's good for soaking up all this gravy. So I'm gonna give you 2. Let's see. Put one there. The gravy is called oxtail gravy. So you actually refer to the meat as oxtails, but the dish is Jamaican oxtail.
Aha! I'm gonna go right in for some of this gravy.
Oh, nice.
I'm really excited to taste it with that caramel start, the browning.
Yeah.
Whoa. If I hadn't seen you start with caramel, I would never know that that sugar was in there.
I love it. It's so tender. It's like falling apart.
It is so much flavor. It's got this deep, hearty, beefy flavor. We hope you enjoyed this video and tune in for more.
Hit those like and subscribe buttons so you never miss a single one.
And if you're ready to take your cooking to the next level, try our digital all-access membership, where you can stream every season of Cook's Country anytime, anywhere, and always ad-free.
Plus, you'll gain unlimited access to all of America's Test Kitchen fail-proof recipes, unbiased reviews, fresh episodes, exclusive offers, and more.
Just scan the QR code or head over to cookscountry.com to sign up for a free trial. And while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter and download our app.
And let's make something great together.